What were your feeling towards the fact that these women were women in power at a time where it would have, felt very unlikely? What did you discover about that, about the fact that women were governing, in the case of Elizabeth, at least, very successfully?
I can imagine it would have been incredibly frustrating, not to mention the fact that you were an absolute disappointment to everyone, not just your family, but to an entire nation. You were a disappointment from birth because of your sex.
Because you were a girl.
That obviously is some deep-seated, issues to deal with later, and it's no surprise that Elizabeth said things like, I am more man than woman now, or I may have the feeble body of a woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king and a man. I'm not surprised that she said things like that, because it was kind of reinforced from day one that she would have, been in a much safer place, and everyone would have been a lot happier if she was the opposite sex. So that was kind of interesting and informative when kind of understanding all her actions in the film.
And you're right. Mary, on the other hand, was not in a safe environment at all ever. She was on edge all the time.
Yeah, I mean, she was born into a country that was about to sort of be thrown on its head a little bit, and her father died a few days after she was born, and he said, like, the Stuart clan will die with the lassie, or the Stuart reign. And when she was 5 years old, she was sent out of Scotland because the rough wooing happened where Henry came up and just, like, raped and pillaged everything and everyone in Scotland. And so she was sent away by her amazing mother, Mary of Guise. So she was born into drama and sort of had it throughout her life, and still had this incredible stamina to just kind of keep going. And I suppose maybe because she had to, but she had this amazing belief in, like, people. She just really believed in people and humanity, and that ended up, unfortunately, being the thing that, in a way, probably meant that she was executed. Because she let too many people in, probably. But it was, and I think there's a notion as well with the mindset of a woman even then, where, like, we obviously know now that it's wrong for a woman to feel any less than a man, but that was the mindset of everyone. And so it's a really interesting thing to either be like, okay, I'm going to be a wife and a mother and all these things, or the only other option is I will be a man. There's no in between. So it was very extreme, these two versions of power.
Let's talk about the girly stuff, the costumes, the makeup, all these things.
The lovely makeup you got to wear.
The lovely makeup you had to wear. It was your most glamorous moment, Margot.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, we got to wear denim for the whole thing. So Alex Byrne, our costume designer who had done Elizabeth, she did the Elizabeth films. She had been in that world before, had kind of been there, done that with that type of period costume, and she really wanted to do something different and kind of add modernity to this look. And so every single one of our costumes was made out of cotton, was made out of denim, and each dress had a story. Like for Mary, the shades of her dress progressively got darker and darker as her life became darker and darker. So it was lovely to have that be such an emotional thing.
And Elizabeth's style was quite well documented, wasn't it?
It was, and at the end we kind of replicated the famous portraits of Elizabeth, the Phoenix, the coronation portrait, the Darnley, and replicated the costumes and hair and makeup looks pretty closely to have that passage of time leading up until the climactic execution in the film. But yeah, actually those three costumes are the only things that weren't denim. Everything else was. But Jenny Sherkor, who did the hair and makeup design and also worked on the previous Elizabeth films, obviously knew this character inside out already, as did Alex, and they just could make really brave choices, I think, because they'd had so much experience and so much time with the character, and I was just lucky to be along for the ride, really.